Hey. Hey. Hey.
Let's go.
How you doing? Hey. Hey. Hey is my favorite word. I love the word hey. It's a friendly word. Hey. Right? Somebody tries to steal your stuff. Hey. Right? I've learned to say hey in 10 languages. No college. Just Google Translate. Hola, aloha, bonjour, konnichiwa, namaste, shalom, ni hao, privet. Oh. I learned languages because I love women from all over the world, all different ethnicities. What you do, you see a beautiful woman, you say, hey. If she doesn't respond, you go to the next language. If she doesn't respond to that, you go to the next language. If she hasn't responded after 10 languages, I do sign language. If she don't respond to 10 languages and sign language, body language. If she don't respond to 10 languages, sign language, and body language, I take that as a no. But I try again the next day, because if the sun shines, you gotta make hay. I don't know if any of you fellas have ever seen a beautiful woman and you start to say hey, but before you finish, she says, nay, now get away, with me you will not lay. I got pepper spray. It still burns to this day. Dating is risque. But you gotta keep trying, you gotta keep going out there and approaching, you know. So I'm from Ohio, and well, the women in Ohio, they're not like as hot as the ones in Colorado. You guys know about that, right? I mean, that's how Ohio got its name, because you see her from far, then she gets close. Ohio. Oh. So in November of 2021, I went down to Miami, Florida, you know, and I was at a Starbucks, and I saw this girl, and I said, hey. You guys have pickup lines. I just say, hey, pretty obvious what I'm looking for. And she was there with 2 other women, and they were eating one muffin between the 3 of them. 3 women, 1 muffin. Now, yeah, I couldn't tell, are they cutting carbs or are they broke? Either way, I like it. So then they go and they're taking a selfie of each other. I said, this is my opportunity. Hey, can I take the picture? I take the picture. Boom. Take the picture. I start talking to this girl. We exchange numbers. She's from Honduras. Okay, she's from Honduras. I'm from Ohio. I start text messaging to her in Spanish. Okay, I'm using Google Translate to text message her. So she thinks I'm fluent in Spanish. Really, I'm fluent in bullshit. And then the universal language. Thank you, sir. Where's my writer at? Okay, we got a comedy special to work on, sir. Okay, let's get to work. Keep taking notes for me. So then for 2 years, we were going back and forth. I went to Honduras to visit her. She came to Ohio to visit me. 2 years back and forth. And in November of this year, I asked her. I took her back to the same Starbucks in Miami. And it was under construction at this point. So now it doesn't even exist. But I asked her. I said, will you marry me? And she said, sí, which is yes in Spanish. So I'm engaged. Yeah, thank you guys. Actually, that's a perfect time for that. That's a good finish. You guys are smart here. That's a good writing session here. Okay. But now in my town, so I lived, backstory a little bit. I did live in California for 20 years. Okay, from the age of 20 to 40, I lived in California up until 2020. And then I was walking my dog. I lived in Los Angeles. I was taking my dog for a walk. I got a short, chubby dog. He looks like Danny DeVito. Okay, his name's Bestie. He's my best friend. And I was walking him, and 2 ladies started yelling at me, put your mask on, put your mask on. My dog looked at me like, let's get the hell out of here. We left. That's why we left California. And I hated that mask thing, right? Because at the time I was single, And I was at the grocery and I saw this girl and I was like, hey, bet you the girl good without that mask on. She took it off, I was wrong. Smiling at me with her tooth. So I put it back up and shave. Yeah. And I hated the wording they used. Remember that word, social distancing? I hated that word, man. I hated, or that phrase, whatever you want to call it. I hated that, man. What wasn't social distancing? That was social conditioning. Population control. Big con. You stay 6 feet away, you can't touch. You can't touch, you can't kiss. You can't kiss, you can't make love. You can't make love, you can't have babies. Population control. It was a big conspiracy to try and stop me from having a wife and kids. It was all set up by Tinder to get me to buy the premium package. I hated that stuff. Well, yeah. So that was that's kind of what brought me back home to Ohio, right? And then I met my girls. Now I got my woman who's from Honduras, and my town in Ohio is 2,000 people, pretty much all white people. And we're concerned about the border crisis in Ohio, because those people from Michigan keep crossing over. It's pissing us off. I'm about to build the Great Wall of Ohio. They're getting a little cocky over their football. But anyways, but the people in my town, I don't know about you guys, but they're worried about the border crisis. So I got to explain to everybody in my hometown, look, my girl is coming into America the legal way. She's doing it the right way, the correct way, the legal way, by sleeping with a white man. Written in the Constitution, okay? George Washington signed off on it. So it was interesting, though, where I grew up, because I grew up in that little town, and then when I first moved to Los Angeles at the age of 20, I got a job, and I made a friend who grew up in Compton. We worked together, and he was a huge guy. He was like as tall as this ceiling. He weighed like 400 pounds. Huge dude. And he went by the name of T. Reezy. Okay, so his name, T. Reezy. My name, Brian Swinehart. He said to me, yo, dog, I don't know about that name, Brian Swinehart. That sounds country. T. Reezy, I don't know about your name. That sounds criminal. Yo, dog, you in L.A. now. You need a street name. You need to hip-hop it up. You going by B. Swine. B. Swine, the other white meat. A.K.A. BH1N1. Mess with you, they get the flu. You B. Swine. I'm not a hug, but I could use a hug. My name is B. Swine. T. Reezy, he's a great friend, too. He even made me some T-shirts. They say, Swine Time. Swine Time. Swine Time shirts. I also got some hats that say, hey. And some T-shirts that say, hey. So, but yeah, man, I try to sell stuff, you know. I try to make, you know, I try to think like an entrepreneur. Like, you know, Kayvon was mentioning Trump, you know, and that guy really is a good businessman. Because remember when the mugshot happened? The mugshot happened, and for 30 minutes, all the people on social media who hated Trump were bragging about it. Ah, look at this picture of Trump in a mugshot, blah, 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 blah. Right at about 30 minutes of Trump's mugshot, the people who liked Trump were like, that's a badass fucking picture. That's my mugshot. That's my profile picture. Sorry, I didn't mean to say the F word. So they used that. So then that made me think I got to be an entrepreneur too. And then so I made my own shirts. They say wanted for president, Trump 2024. Number one seller I've ever had. I only got one of these left. It's a size small, so I don't know. There's no size smalls in Covington, Ohio. So, give it to the baby. Get the baby off to a good start. So yeah, man. I don't know, man. We learned a lot about people during the pandemic, though, or the plan, whatever you want to call it, right? We learned a lot about people. You know, like celebrities, like that guy Mark Zuckerberg. You guys know about him, man? Yeah, that guy's a satanic pedophile baby eater. True, read it on Facebook. Yeah, that's what they say, right? Bill Gates, you guys know he got divorced, right? You know why Bill Gates got divorced? I've done a lot of research on this. Bill Gates used to be a woman. Had a sex change, became a man. His wife clearly used to be a man, had a sex change, became a woman. Their daughter is adopted and is a hermaphrodite. True, my friend, he sent me a meme that explains it. Makes sense, I'm going with it. I didn't like the news. Remember when the news came out and they said, 93-year-old man died of COVID? I was like, bull crap. 93-year-old man died of being 93. That's what happens when you turn 93. At 93, every breath is a miracle. At 93, a strong fart could kill you. Don't eat Taco Bell before visiting Grandma. No, I'll tell you what happened. Grim Reaper showed up. It's like, hey, 93-year-old man, time's up. Old man was like, I'm 93, I've had a good long life, I have kids, I have grandkids, I'm ready to go. The doctor was like, we get 36,000 if he had COVID. News reporter was like, excellent, I can scare my viewers. And Bill Gates was like, wonderful, my vaccine is going to make trillions. Who I couldn't stand was, I couldn't stand Fauci, man. I didn't like Fauci, right? Fauci, right? Yeah, Fauci, bad news. First he came out and said you don't need a mask. Then he came out and said you need a mask. Then he came out and he said vaccine. Then he said 2 masks. It was like all this thing. Everybody was confused, right? Everybody was kind of confused. I was waiting to see, because first they had us standing on those little lines, walking one way in the grocery store, and everybody was going along with it. It made 0 sense, but people were doing it. You know, you go into a restaurant, when you walk in, you got to put the mask on, but when you sit down, it's cool. You know, so it's just like the craziest thing. And it got me thinking, dude, I was just waiting for Fauci to see how far he could push it, how far he could get the people to believe. You know, I was just waiting for him to come out on one of those press conferences, tell us, take your finger, shove it up your butt, hold it there 3 seconds, rotate it, pull it out. Pull your mask down, put it in your mouth. If you can't smell or taste it, you got COVID. But if you can't smell or taste it, that's your fault for listening to Fauci. He's a stone cold pathological liar. And the sad part is, people would have actually done it. They would brag about it. Of course I eat my own poop. I trust the science. You don't eat your own poop, you're a science denier. Rachel Maddow would come on TV. Some people refuse to eat their own poop. These are white supremacists afraid of their poop. If you don't have stink eye, you pink eye, you didn't try. Lock them up, January 6th carriers. I can't wait to try this material in Los Angeles. Yeah, dude, that's right. They're gonna kill me. And you know what? It got to me, man. The whole thing got to me because I used to play this comedy club called the Hollywood Improv. I used to have a monthly show there, and I'd always perform there. And then when everything happened, and I was back home in Ohio, I still got messages from the club. And one of the messages said that you had to be vaccinated to perform. And I said, well, there goes freedom of speech in comedy, right? You only let one side. And I didn't take the vaccine, okay? And thank you. I'll take that. Yeah, I didn't take it. Not because I think my body's a temple and I'm afraid to put anything in it, right? In my life, You all right? Somebody give this guy a vax real quick. He's dying. Give him a vax. You all right? What's your name, man? Good? man. But my life, man, it happens, But I've done alcohol, weed, coke, speed, acid, LSD, DMT, ayahuasca, and a fat chick named Stephanie. That was a hard habit to kick. Out of bed, I trusted all those drug dealers more than Fauci. Stephanie, you know Stephanie? Get you strong. I don't like that. Oh, man. Yeah. She made me strong. So before we go on, you know what? I want to share something with you guys, if that's all right. You see that there? Bear? See that? Yeah, I lost part of these two fingers right there. And sometimes I show my fingers to people and they tell me, oh, it's just the tip. Tip is pretty important. This might not be here if our dads didn't convince their mom it's just the tip. Yeah, totally. And I did it 5 years ago, 2018, July 5th. I was on the back of a boat. They were towing a jet ski. The rope got loose, and it come flying back to where I was sitting. I don't even know how exactly it happened. I was just kind of sitting there, and I saw a rope, and I heard somebody go, oh, shit, and I went to grab the rope. My fingers got stuck between the rope and the seat I was sitting in. Oh. Yeah, hilarious. Blood's just gushing out like a Tarantino movie. I'm freaking out. I lost part of my fingers. I lost part of my fingers. My cousin. Are you sure? Yes, I've had the same fingers my entire life. They didn't look like this when I got on the boat. I'm tipless. The fish are having finger food. Good news, now I can get away more crime, no fingerprints. And but it got me thinking, I think that there's always lessons in our lives. Like this was God teaching me a lesson. I wasn't moving on the right path in my life, and God intervened. He did this to me, and it made me realize to appreciate every moment, because you never know what's going to happen. There you are, you're having a great time, 4th of July weekend, and your whole life can change just like that. No, I can't stab. Thank you, sir. Thank you for doing that for me. Sitting over here bragging and how Yeah, right. So then I had to go to the emergency room, right? And now I'm not tough. I don't like pain. I'm in the emergency room. I'm having a hard time with it. I'm in there. I'm cussing. I'm screaming. The doctor, he's doing small talk with me, trying to calm me down. He says to me, oh, here we go. There we go. He says to me, so I hear you're a comedian. I'm like, yeah, Doc, I'm a comedian. He said, say something funny. Doc, I'm sure there's something funny about this situation. I just can't put my finger on it. How can you please get to the task at hand? My hand. I said that at a show, I tell this story pretty much at most of my shows. And this lady was super sweet lady. She came up to me. She said, wow, I can't believe you joke about that. I'm like, ma'am, I have to. I'm a stand-up comic, and I can no longer fall back on my career as a hand model. Those days are done. And there's a lot of truth to that joke, because when I was in Los Angeles, I had a job that was called a stand-in. Stand-in, you work on the movies, and you stand in for the main actor. And I worked for a couple of different actors. One of the actors I worked for was this one dude named Matthew McConaughey. I was his stand-in on the movie Lincoln Lawyer, a couple commercials, a music video. He was a great guy, a lot of fun to work with because he was the easiest actor to mimic, right? You just walk around with him all day. All right, all right, all right. Where do I stand? Shirt on or off? We were filming in Venice Beach, California. We got done early. I went to the beach. I used to always carry flyers with me to promote the comedy shows. What you would do, you'd see a cute girl, you'd give her a flyer. Then you'd follow her a couple blocks, see what trash can she threw it in. Then you'd dig it out and reuse it. Same flyer for 3 years. Same joke for 7. So there I am talking to this girl who goes running down the beach getting his 5 hours of daily cardio. McConaughey, he's just running down the beach, right? I waved at him, he waves back. I see him the next day at work. Hey man, I seen you talking to a woman and a dog. Was that your girlfriend? I was like, no man, I just like to go out every day and make approaches. You got to approach. You got to go out there and say, hey. You got to approach. You got to see a cute girl, you got to talk to her, you know. It's like, you water one here, you water one here, you water one here. A few might die. But in the end, you got a garden. So then I started working on my garden. I was out there hoeing and plowing.
That's a good tip.
So I had that job, and then I had another job I worked on. It was called the movie Fast and the Furious 7. And Fast and Furious 7, a little movie trivia for you. Fast and Furious 7, halfway through the movie, Paul Walker passed away. They had to finish the movie. They used his 2 brothers to play the role of Paul, and they used CGI to make the brothers look even more like Paul. I was the stand-in for the 2 brothers. This movie happened in 2016, so at that time, I still had 10 perfect fingers. And because the movie was running behind schedule, they used me as the photo double, hand double, for some of the shots. So when he's driving, when he's shifting, when he unhandcuffs the character Ramsey, those were my hands. I was very proud of this job. I used to invite girls over, put on Netflix, Fast and Furious 7, those are my hands. Yeah, real story. True, yes, for real. You can look it up on the internet, for real. For real. Neither did these girls. Now they definitely don't. Yeah, Fast and Furious 7, that's a true story. True story. And it was a true story. It was the best time of my life working on that. And actually, I thought about the whole experience I had on Fast and Furious 7 while I was in the emergency room, and all of a sudden I started screaming, I won't be able to do any more hand jobs! I won't be able to do any more hand jobs! Hey. Thank you, Colorado. You guys are wonderful.